How y'all doing? You enjoying the fair? I grew up in Arizona. I was in 4-H. So the county fair every year was always a big deal. I had a grand champion steer one year. Grew up on a cattle ranch. Moved to Northern California. When we moved to Arizona from Nebraska, it was culture shock. I lived about 20 minutes from the Mexican border. Sonora is right below us. San Luis, Mexicali was both real close by. And my dad's laborers would bring the most wonderful Mexican food up from Mexico. Their wives or their mothers made it. And that was how I grew to fall in love with Mexican food. Salsa, it was kind of a slow evolving thing, just a handshake type thing. And eventually I fell in love with salsa. I can't have enough of it. For most of us, how many of you started out eating salsa with something like this? Pretty common. I think that was the first salsa I had, and you don't realize how good it can be when you try something like that. In the last 3 or 4 years, I've got to where I put salsa on just about everything. I've learned to make about 15 different salsas, and you can make them to fit just about anything you want. And after a while, I got tired of buying it, and I made it to where I would make it for whatever I wanted. And when I make it for me, I can make it as hot as I want it to be. When I make it for friends, you got to realize not everybody wants it as hot as you do, so you got to tone it down a little bit. So what I try to do with salsas and guacamole is I'm looking for flavor. What's great about salsa is you have a combination of tomatoes, chilies, and onions that basically are the key to everything you make. I got a handful of things that you can put up here. This is an ancho chili. This is a dried pasilla chili. This is a purple onion. I use white onions as well. Either one of them works fine. I don't use sweet onions like Vidalias for salsas. This is a tomatillo. We're going to make a salsa verde later. I think that's my favorite salsa. With pork, fish, it's just a great salsa, and it really accentuates things. And I'll tell you how to pick tomatillos. I'll tell you how to work with them. This is a white onion. I use limes almost exclusively. You can also use lemons. It doesn't really matter. In a pinch, if you didn't have anything else, put vinegar in. It'll do the same thing. You need that acid taste from that, and that'll do that. We're making a mole later. We're going to use some chocolate. We're going to use some sweetness. We're going to use honey. We're going to use almonds, some pork fat that we cooked some chili rellenos on Tuesday, and I just saved that, so I keep using stuff. One of the things you realize about chilies is you can pick a chili for whatever palate flavor you have. Can you lower the music a little bit? They're measured on the Scoville scale. This is a habanero. This goes up to about 350,000 on the Scoville scale. This pasilla, when it was a regular pasilla, is about 1,000 to 2,000, and then they go up from there. This is serranos. I use a lot of serranos. This green one will run about 3,000, maybe 4,000. The red one will be hotter. It'll run up to about 5,000 or 6,000. What this is, this one's just aged for another couple weeks. The more they age, the more heat they have in them. Avocados, we make guacamole. This is the heart of that. I'll tell you how to separate them. When I'm done later on, we're going to put everything out. We're going to put some salsas and chips and guacamole out. You can taste those. I'll answer questions for you. Again, questions later. Feel free to ask me anything. How many of you know that salsa is now the #1 condiment in America? 1990s, it passed ketchup. When you think about how exciting ketchup is, it's just red. It sits there. Doesn't do anything. Salsa has so much diversity. You can do almost anything with it. It goes with so many dishes, you can revolve your whole meal around that. And that's what we try to do. If you're cooking pork, you can make a salsa that's going to accentuate that pork flavor. You cook a pork roast, a pork loin in a salsa verde for 3 hours, and it's going to be so moist and tender, and that salsa verde is going to cook down even longer in that 3 hours, and that taste is going to be even milder, but the flavors are going to meld together, do something really exciting. So I need a taste tester for a little bit. So somebody want to come up and be a taste tester for me? They got to have a watch. I need somebody with a second hand. You want to come up? You got a second hand on your watch? Come on up. Some other things we're going to put in the salsas later. Black beans, cook those down in the last couple days. Corn on the cob. I just need, come on up. You said you were first, the lady. Corn on the cob. We're going to make a salsa out of that. I've got some mango. Mango pineapple is great for fish. It's great for pork. It's great for chicken. Add that, adds a little bit of sweetness to it. Come on over. What's your name? Kathy. You like salsa?
Oh, yeah.
What's your favorite kind?
I make a pretty good mango salsa.
Okay. You like it hot? You like it mild?
I like it with a little kick to it.
Like a little kick to it. My kind of gal. What we're going to do is I'm writing a book called The 5-Minute Salsa. So what I'm doing is I want you to see how easy it is to make salsa. It only takes a couple minutes. I'm going to cut everything up, and in that time you'll see how easy it is. And she's going to time me, and in that time you realize, and it's a quick salsa, so this is something you can dip chips in, add it to tacos, add it to burritos, whatever you want. So here we go. You say ready, set, go. Ready, set, go. Here's the tomatoes. They go in first. I de-seed the tomatoes. It's just water. It makes your salsas even runnier. We're going to put it in there. For the purpose of this, we're doing everything kind of quick. We're not going to go through and speed everything through really quickly. We're going to cut things up quickly. You'll notice I'm not cutting up the tomatoes real quick, but we're putting them in a Cuisinart, and that's how we're going to get them in 5 minutes. The tomatoes, I'm not worried about getting all the pits out, but we want to get that juice. The seeds add absolutely nothing to it. Italians, when they're making pizza sauce, when they're making their tomato sauces, they strain the seeds out too. To me, it just adds the taste that you don't want for this. Almost done with the tomatoes. You like cilantro? I love cilantro. There's a popular restaurant in the area that adds a lot of cilantro. You can tell the difference with that. I've already cut up my serranos. I'll do this fair. We'll cut up a serrano for this. Let's do the hot one. You like the hot one, so we'll do the hot one. Now, one thing about the chilies, you can cut the seeds out. That's the seeds in the vein is where all the heat comes from. And if you have a spoon, just cut them out real quick. And that's it. Took about 10 seconds to cut that out. Garlic. Can't have salsa without garlic. The great thing about Northern California